Hello, I'm Billy.
I'm Eddie.
We are
The Trick-or-Treaters.
So this week we have a very unique movie to review.
Definitely for a niche audience.
Yeah, A24 presents Death of a Unicorn, and I told him as soon as I saw this online, I had a pre-order. I went to that Alamo Draft House I was telling you about.
Yeah.
They bring your food and drinks right to your seat. If you talk during the film, they'll warn you once. Second time, you're gone. So it's very like...
That would be our problem.
No, we were fine because whenever I went with my friend Janet, she just like tapped me on the shoulder when something was funny. We both laughed at it, so we didn't talk at all. But it's more for adults to be able to... They have a full bar, and right across from there is the Museum of Illusions. So you can make someone look really tall. So I thought we would go in there and you would be like 8 foot. You would look like King Kong and I would look like Ant-Man, like an ant.
Yes.
But,
funny you should say Ant-Man.
Oh yeah, Paul Rudd's in this. This is the reason I wanted to see this. Paul Rudd.
And Jen Ortega.
And Will Poulter.
Rudd and Jen Ortega, they play a father-daughter.
Yeah.
And they, even within the first 5 minutes, you could tell that, yeah, I could believe they're father-daughter.
They both have dark hair.
I mean, even beyond genetics, I mean, you could tell the way they played off of one another.
Yeah, you could tell they've been around each other, the energy. It didn't feel like a forced, like a lot of movies where you can tell that it's not even believable.
Yeah.
For a father-daughter relationship. It says here, a father, Paul Rudd, and daughter, Jen Ortega, accidentally hit and kill a unicorn while en route to a weekend retreat where a billionaire pharma executive, Richard E. Grant, and his family seek to exploit the creature's miraculous curative properties. A riotous action horror monster mash with an electric ensemble cast, Death of a Unicorn reinvigorates the creature feature with big laughs and ferocious thrills.
Most of after they hit the unicorn and everything starts going haywire. It reminded me a bit of that scene from Jurassic Park 2.
Which scene? I haven't watched
when
that
the T-Rexes are coming for their baby.
Oh, I need to rewatch because I don't remember the scene, so I'll have to.
Their baby gets hurt. The humans are trying to help the baby.
Oh.
And mommy and daddy come looking for the baby T-Rex who's crying because it's hurt and all that.
Oh boy.
So the way the unicorns were reminded me of that.
Okay. It kind of does give some Jurassic Park vibes, just a little more silliness.
Yeah. I mean, the giant monsters.
What I liked a lot about this is you kind of get the sense based on the discussion early on that Paul Rudd and Jen Ortega's character, Ridley, and what was his... Oh.
Elliot,
and yeah, they don't really get along the best, and you get the sense that they went through something bad. So it doesn't tell you what at the very start, but it sort of fills in the gaps as you go.
Something happened to her mom.
Yeah.
And we never see her. We don't get a concrete answer about what happened. We know she was in a hospital bed, but we don't know what took her.
I'm guessing cancer.
That would be the obvious one.
Basing on how she was like, oh yeah, they would never let her have it.
Yeah.
That's my theory, is that she died of cancer. You get to see some pictures of like her whenever she's on her phone. It shows pictures of, like the mom, dad, and her together. But that's about it. We don't really get flashbacks.
Yeah.
And that is kind of a trope that's overdone sometimes, is doing too many flashbacks.
Agreed.
Having that balance is hard to find. What were your thoughts when this first started rolling? Like them in the airplane and...
Okay, well, I had asked you, and I thought they were getting ready to take off in the plane. No, they were getting ready to deboard.
And then he says...
They can't, the plane doesn't fit on the tarmac.
The stairs don't fit. We'll get back with you whenever we figure out what that means.
The stairs don't fit on the tarmac, and I'm like, oh gosh.
I said I could see that happening. We're running the plane, not the pilot, obviously, but we're trying to get everybody off board, and we have the wrong stairs somehow. Okay, everybody, we're gonna get a water slide instead. Whee!
I mean, that'd be an obvious solution as the emergency.
Yeah. So it starts out kind of like you get the sense that he wants to be closer to his daughter, but then it's just funny.
And yeah, it's not directly stated, but I think with him being a lawyer, he didn't spend a lot of time with her. I think she was more around her mom. And we don't get a time gap on how long it's been since they lost her, so it could still be fairly recent.
That's true. You sort of have to, because they talk about it, but we don't, like you said, we don't have like a timeline on some of this stuff. So you almost have to mentally assume, like you said, it was recent or within a year or less. I'm thinking
Yeah,
based on the way
that's
they
what I
talk
mean by
about it.
recent is hopefully no longer than a year. I mean, single dad, daughter, somewhere in her teens, early 20s.
I would say she's in college or something.
And that's just going off of Ortega's age.
Yeah.
And what works with Ortega and several other actors and actresses they sometimes look younger than they are. So they can play these roles and it's still believable. You don't get 20-something-year-old actors pretending to be teenagers. And it looks unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I've watched some shows where they had 40-year-olds playing teenagers.
Exactly. Ortega, both because she is youthful looking and her height, works well. She can play these semi-younger roles. Not too young, but still younger.
Like young adult, yeah.
And being short, nothing against that. I'm only 5 foot myself.
I thought you were 3.
I know I'm short, but I'm not that short. But yeah, so this is definitely a niche, but it works well. They cast the right people. And it's a wonderful little film. Not exactly for everybody.
No, we have that dark humor, so there are
There's
certain
this scene
scenes
after when the pharmaceutical people find out about it because they got the body in the car, and the unicorn's magical, so it starts healing, starts throwing a fit, locking the car and all that, and it breaks this window and its head sticks out and scares everybody. And they bring it down again, and it's like, so what is this? Like a horse with some sort of protrusion? And Ortega's straight face and that was ruined in the trailer. It's a fucking unicorn.
Yeah, they didn't listen to the rule. If you see the van knocking, don't come a knocking.
Exactly.
You know, if they would have just left it alone, it would have reunited, and everything probably actually would have been okay.
Yeah.
But greed, science, these people, the owner is ill. He has cancer, and they're wanting to use it for personal gain. So, and I can understand it in a way, but I still think there would have been a better approach they could have done.
They even flat out said they couldn't synthesize the proteins and all that the unicorn produces. So they would have had to have them live.
Right.
There was no way to artificially create what the unicorn does.
Exactly. They could have gotten some of the blood and then let it go. They could have tried to sedate it.
If they could synthesize it.
Yeah.
But they flat out said they couldn't synthesize it. They could have just gotten a sample and figured out how to synthesize it. Yeah, they could have just let it be on its way.
True.
The problem with something like that, and this is true even in real life, you find out something that exists, poachers.
Yeah.
Or other people that really want that. I mean, there's people like me and you who would just want to see it just to see it.
Right.
But there's others that would hunt them for sport.
Yeah. You and I would probably just be like, oh, that's cool. Let's see it. And then we leave it alone. But there are some that want it for their own gain. It leans into the comedy a lot. They're actually surprisingly a good story for a comedy film. It actually has a good family film. Will Poulter, though, silent MVP of this film, he is hilarious. His timing, like the stuff he says, like he yells for their servant Griff, and he's like, Griff, get him a suit. Cancel that, Griff. Like he just screams it. It's so funny the way like, and we're the Millers. He was kind of a funny looking kid. He pulled off that role well too. So in this, he brings that comic relief again, and he can do more than that. We've seen him as Guardians, but I really like this movie. The comedy is good. It's our type of humor. There's a scene that makes me laugh every time. It is very simple humor. It involves a character falling and cussing, and I don't know why. I just found that so damn funny. I think it's the tone that they use.
Yep. I'll admit that was great.
That was. You get in that mood for that slap happy humor sometimes. I think this is one of those films that you have to have.
Slap happy humor is enjoyable. I mean, look at movies in general. You don't need something super serious. Sometimes you just want to sit back and laugh. And that's what this is. It lets you sit back, laugh. There's a nice family message.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable. It doesn't take itself seriously. It knows what it is.
It does. And whenever a movie,
but not to the extent of, say, like Mel Brooks.
which he introduced me to Spaceballs recently, which
was-
we will get into that at some point. But he's right, because I think a lot of movies try to take themselves too seriously. When you know what you are, that's why this is a niche audience. They knew what they were doing, and the people who like that kind of stuff are going to be into it. But there's going to be a lot of movie watchers who skip this because it's just not their kind of humor. We had that black comedy.
The dark comedy, yeah.
And we were watching Final Destination, and there was a really epic kill. I hadn't seen any. We were
This is
watching
the
Bloodlines.
only we had seen Bloodlines. He had not seen any of the others, and I'm just sitting there like, yes, but this is the death.
I just went there and nodded like, that was a cool kill. And he's over there laughing.
Because I grew up with the Final Destinations. So I knew going in to expect some gnarly deaths over the top.
And tying that full circle, there are some gnarly deaths in this one.
Some semi-unexpected, some you see coming, but they're still wonderfully executed.
They were executed. You're right.
Okay, haha. I did not mean to do that, but that was well played.
Well played.
But, I mean, the graphics are good.
Yeah.
Most of the times you get something like that where it's a niche, just thrown out for a quick buck. The CG graphics usually don't look that good. Here, they look good.
You could believe that there really were unicorns attacking them.
Not just like Bloodspot and all that, but some of the more gory stuff.
It looked good.
Yeah.
A24, how long have they been around now?
That I'm not sure.
Because-
I'm not too familiar with A24. I'll admit it. Is that one of those like boutique labels like Scream Factory?
A24 is a movie studio. They've done the Hugh Grant movie, The Heretic. That was really good. I saw that one. Driveway Dolls.
Okay,
think
they're
might have
the
been
people
one.
behind Driveway Down.
They do a lot of different films. They
That
did
was
get
a
into a
weird
lot
one,
of
too.
The X trilogy, which I haven't shown you yet.
Okay, they did that.
They do a lot of these. They also did that one about the creature I want to see, Willem Dafoe, The Legend of the Ochi.
Okay.
They do a lot of these very unique. We'll have to look up some of the films they've done after we talk on this. They're a newer studio that has a different take on like horror and other stuff.
They're enjoyable though. From what I've seen, you said Driveway Dolls. That one is enjoyable, if not weird beyond all hell. Like, what am I
They
watching?
also did one called It Lies Bleeding, or Love Lies Bleeding, with Kristen Stewart. One of the weirdest films I've ever seen. Her Olympic powerlifter girlfriend flies during one of the
Oh
scenes.
God.
From a steroid she's on. She like grows and flies.
But Death of a Unicorn, obviously, you get good actors. I mean, this can go either way, but you get a good actor. You get a well-written script. And a crew that not only knows what they're doing, but has fun with it. It's obviously there was, even between Ortega and the other actors, not just Paul Rudd, but there was chemistry there. The way they played off of one another, whether it be the comedic or the serious moments. You could tell, okay, either this was well rehearsed or they were just that good at playing off of one another.
They said in an interview, Paul Rudd is the worst co-star ever because he would make them laugh, so they would have to keep redoing scenes because he would start doing silly stuff. So it took them a while to
I don't
film
know.
because I forget where this was filmed, but the scenery is amazing too. Just to look at where they
because
filmed.
it's one of those that's like isolated setting wise. Starts out on a plane. Next shot, it jumps to the next scene. They're just driving through like wooded area, and then you get to a single house surrounded by this wooded area. So that's the setting for the film. So there's not a lot of setting. And I mentioned this to Billy while we were watching. There's this, when they're in the car, they're talking and all that. And you could see they're shooting through the windows. They're not shooting from inside the car. They're shooting outside through the windows. And it's great because a lot of times you don't see that. They'll shoot from inside the car when the characters are talking.
Yeah, it was definitely a different way to do it. And I liked it because it was different. Because they're sitting there driving through the nature. You're like, okay, this is going to be an isolation film. I love those. Abigail. Where there's not obvious escape routes. You can't just leave and be to civilization in 10 seconds.
No signal.
No signal. That trope where phones aren't working. the unicorns are smart enough to disable the power, so they can't get their calls through, that kind of stuff. Ortega's character the whole time, Ridley, she is trying to like warn them, don't do this, don't go down this road. I've done all this research, and they're all like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, because they just are seeing the dollar signs, like you said earlier.
And research-wise, it's all the unicorn tapestries, which are very real. They played into the research that Ortega was doing. And I looked them up while I was sitting here, and they are real, and I wouldn't mind seeing them because just history in general I've always found fascinating. So tying history into the fictional, I love it. I've seen it with other films.
Weird.
Okay, weird was just making fun of the biopic. The biopic.
It's all true. No, what he said, I was telling him, could you imagine, guys, if we decided to get passports? They go, what is your purpose for travel? We want to study the history of unicorns. Oh, for heaven's sakes. They put us on hold, but they don't hit the right buttons for everything they're saying. We got these two weirdos that want to study unicorns, and they're going to fly. They're going to get a passport. Do we issue them, or do we put them in the loony bin? And then Eddie
We
will
just look
say,
up, oh, please, we'd be running that place within a week.
yeah. And finally, it's like, wait, you heard that? Please hold. And then they once again hit the wrong button, and they talk trash about us for like 10 minutes.
We'd be laughing the entire time.
And they're like, wait a minute, are you guys still here?
Yep. Thanks for the enjoyment. This has been great.
This has been great.
I can see them going, we're pretty much insulting them, and they're just laughing it off. We're not normal.
We're normal with abs. And I'm mad. I used to have a six-pack. Someone drank all the freaking Dr. Pepper. I wonder who that was.
I don't know.
Oh, no. This is only a six-pack. Couldn't have been you. It had to be at least 12 for you to bother. No, okay. So when this came in the mail, the art, like it has Ortega and Rudd's character on the back, and then the front, it has like the different characters.
Artwork is beautiful. And
It
I've
is.
noticed that with some of these A24, if it's, you said they're the same ones that did Driveway Dolls, I've seen that case art.
If you look at the cover, there's a unicorn dumping a barrel and someone trying to swim, people trying to swim
I
away.
think this is supposed to be one of the tapestries.
It is. If you open it and look at the back, the whole back is a tapestry. Like the way they did the art on that.
It is.
It's so cool. Like the way they did the art. I love it. And then even like on the disc, it shows the unicorn and everything. Or like a part of the unicorn. I really like it. It was very unique done the disc. And then inside there are actually go ahead and put the disc down. There's actually postcards with pictures from the filming. There's like 6 of them, and they okay. So number 1 it says right here, unicorn photographed by Balaz Goldie. Goldie's last name, but I'm not sure what the front name says.
Yeah, Balaz, B-A-L-A-S-Z.
Yeah, but if you look at that picture, that's one of the unicorn props they used. Then we got Paul Rudd with eye or something on his face, I think.
Same photography, so they probably...
Yeah, it's all the same photographer. Then we have Jenna Ortega out in the woods. That one's cool. This is actually my favorite, though. You got Paul Rudd with the freaking unicorn just sitting there touching the head and the horn. That's just awesome. And then you have eating the rare unicorn steak.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then you have the family, and in the front is Richard Grant, who plays the a-hole. As soon as he saw him, he's like, yeah, he looks just pure evil. You know when you watch those movies, can you give some examples where you see somebody, you go, oh, that's the villain? Like what are some films where as soon as you see the actor, you're like, yeah, that's the bad guy? John Wick, I could tell it right away with like the son in the first one. I'm trying to think of who are some great villains.
Well, there's some actors that really, they're known for their villains.
Yes, they are. The girl from The Mist that plays the religious. She's also in Fear Street. She played the assistant principal. She always looks like she's going to do something evil.
Maybe not necessarily evil, but she's definitely out there.
Yeah, she's definitely up to something. We've been making a lot of Harry Potter references because we've been kind of going down the rabbit hole. But anyways, who would enjoy this film? Like, what kind of people?
People with the dark humor. You enjoy Paul Rudd's work? I'd say yes.
We need to watch Role Models sometime. Have you seen that one?
Uh-uh.
It's Sean William Scott
Oh,
and
God.
Paul Rudd together.
Oh,
And they get in trouble, so they have to be like big brothers, and that's the only way out of this.
God.
And one of the kids is into LARP, so they have to go LARP.
Live action role play.
Yep. And then one of the other kids is like a little trash talking black boy.
Oh, God.
It's hilarious. It's worth watching. But yeah, what you said, Paul Rudd's work. If you like dark humor, if you like lore, because like he said, they pull in the fantasy, the real into the fantasy, which I like.
Yeah, and I've seen that in other movies. Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, the second Ghost Rider movie that Marvel did. There's this bit with the history of the devil, or at least that version of the devil. And one of the pictures they show that's supposedly the devil is Vlad the Impaler, and that's in that. And they use the album cover from the Pink Floyd album "Wish You Were Here."
That's right.
That's the one with the two people handshake and the one dude's on fire.
Okay, yes.
But evidently, I saw recently that it's actually like two of the people that worked on the film, they recreated it. It's not the actual artwork.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know it was a recreation.
I didn't
It's
either.
just a quick glimpse at it. And I'm like, I know that artwork. I know that artwork. I was a nerd when I saw that movie. I'm still a nerd, but when you pull the wheel into the world of film, it works great. Especially if it works good. Because there's a lot of times like, wait, I know about that. And it's like, you know, that actually works out.
It does.
Those of us that enjoy history may not be flat out historians, but actually enjoy history. I love films like that. And, I mean, the Indiana Jones movies are good for that.
I need to watch those still. I've only seen one of the newer ones, Kingdom of Crystal Skull. It's the only one I've ever seen.
Oh, I gotta show you Raiders.
And I need to see Back to the Future. What he was saying though, this is one of those films I love for my collection. It wasn't like big financial hit or anything. It might have made its budget if it was lucky. But it's gonna be like, can you name a movie of yours that most people probably haven't seen or don't like, but you like it? It's one of those films for me where I like it. It might not be for everybody, but I enjoy it. It's probably going to be a cult classic. Those who like it really like it, and those who don't like it really can't stand it. So there's going to be no in between on this. I feel like it's going to be very polarizing as far as what the audience is saying.
Just quick glimpse of my collection.
Yeah.
Because yes, I know what I have if I hear the title, but just looking. A lot of them aren't like ones. There's movies that people will look at me and go, that is the most stupidest thing ever. Why do you have that? Because I like it. Snakes on a Plane.
I need to watch that one.
I gotta make sure that disc plays. I got it used. But I know some of them, and maybe Snakes on a Plane is a bit more better now. But I know some of the older ones I got, they're now they got cult followings. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. People will look at that and be like, if they don't know what it is, they're like, what are you watching?
Oh, jeez.
Tim Curry in drag. Because I was watching it for the first time because Rocky Horror was a blind buy on my part.
Really?
I had never seen it, but I'd heard so much about this movie.
Right.
I picked it up at Walmart and I sat down and watched it one night when I knew I wasn't going to get interrupted. And my cousin comes out from getting cleaned up, looks, and all he sees is these giant lips on the screen from the opening musical number. And goes, what are you watching?
That's awesome.
No, I was familiar with the music because, well, I'd been introduced to some of the music through my dad and that, but I had never seen the film. But yeah, there's little things like that. Maybe not exactly that everybody will hate, but they're the ones I enjoy.
I'm the same way. If you like, it's
I imagine there's a couple Marvel movies you look over, especially old Marvel pre-MCU, that people look and go, no, why? It didn't work. It's still an enjoyable film. Yeah, it may have deviated from the lore, from like the mythology of the characters, but they're still good movies if you enjoy that kind of thing.
Well, it's like you and I have discussed, like the early 2000s, a lot of cheesy was in. So a lot of the lines are cheesy. What happens to a toad that gets struck by lightning?
What happens to everything else? Yep.
Bad lines, but this was great though. I like the timing on this. It is a bit of a slow start. because they're in the plane. You're hearing about the business deal. They're driving to his bosses. So that part is building. But once they start getting into the lore and then shit hits the fan, it just runs.
And it doesn't overstay its welcome.
No, this movie is, what do we say here? This movie is only 108 minutes.
I was looking for it earlier, but
hour and 48. So if it would have been 2 hours, it might not have been as good. If you had another 10 minutes, because then you're just stretching it out to pad the runtime.
Yeah.
You're adding maybe a few more scenes of pacing out the kills slower, or maybe there's more backstory to the family. Like while they're waiting, it's showing what the family's doing while they're waiting for them to arrive. But that's still, is it adding anything? Would you be adding anything of substance there? No, probably not. We were gonna say, go ahead. We were gonna say some other stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, this movie's a nice little movie. I'm glad you got it so you could show it to me, because I know you went to go see it.
I saw it twice, 2 days in a row, because I loved it.
The Ortega line about it's a fucking unicorn. That has triggered that's a bit of a thing about ruining stuff in trailers. How much do you want to show in a trailer compared to letting people just go see the movie? There's plenty like that. Where you sit down, you watch the trailer. I mean, the big one I can think of off the top of my head, Men in Black 2, back in like 02, early 2000s, 01, early 02, I don't know when the movie came out. There's this joke when the self-driving car pulls up to them, to Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, and the autopilot, I guess inflatable or whatever, gets sucked into the steering wheel. And Tommy Lee Jones goes, "Does that come standard?" And Will Smith replies, "It came with a black guy, but he kept getting pulled over."
Oh.
But what I mean by this is it was in all the trailers. So we all knew that joke was coming. Does it make it less funny? A little bit, but it's still entertaining.
Yeah, less people laughed at that line. I was laughing in the theater because they'd already heard in the trailer. How I would have done it is show him hitting something, and then he could have said, "Is this some sort of horse-like mammalia?" And then it skips to you don't hear any part of that scene, because then it makes you wonder, okay, what is this thing? And then, because we already know it's unicorn, but if it skipped the Ortega line, I think it would have made it better. Or you could have shown some other thing, like them running from something, to build the anticipation, because we already know it's called that unicorn. So we know there's going to be a unicorn in it, but could you have marketed it? Like, I probably would have went with not spoiling that line, because that was a really funny line, like he said. So yeah, we were talking about movies that spoil stuff in trailers. Not something like Harry Potter. If you've read the books, you already know what's happening.
Most of the time.
But most of the time. But then you also have, but like with other films, you don't know much about what it's going to be about, or you don't know what's going to happen. You can show a lot without showing a lot. Like, remember Avengers Endgame and Infinity War? They didn't really show a whole lot when it came to trailers.
No.
It was very minimal.
I was lucky to be able to see both of those in theaters.
Yes, me too. Wait, yeah.
Because Andrew wanted someone to talk to about Endgame. He's like, "That's it. Boys' night, we're going."
Hell yeah.
And he took me to see Endgame. And when Cap picks up Mjolnir.
Oh. I bet he lost his shit.
I think Endgame is one of the ones that he hadn't seen ahead of time. I know No Way Home he took me to see because he wanted someone to talk to because of all the three Spider-Men and the villains.
Yeah.
And when he was having trouble, it's like, "That's it, I'm taking you to go see." But Endgame, Cap picks up Mjolnir. The Avengers Assemble line. Those were great that were not ruined by the trailer. And the Avengers Assemble line, we had build-up from the other Avengers movies. We kept waiting to hear him say it. Because if you know your comics, that's their battle cry. That's their call to arms.
Yeah. That was one of the best scenes in the movie. So Captain America standing on his own, getting ready to face an entire
army.
And
then it's like, "Cap, on your left." And then you see all these portals that, yes!
But imagine if that would have been in the trailer.
Oh, it would have still had the yes factor because you may not have had the context.
But not as big.
But not as big.
So that's the question we're asking is, how much do you show in the trailer to get people to see your movie without spoiling the story or all the good parts? That's the question you got to ask. Abigail, same thing was brought up for it. The twist of her being a vampire. Do you just make it a movie about Ransom in the trailer rather
And also,
than a vampire?
bouncing back to Infinity War, editing the trailer to conceal something. Because if you remember Infinity War,
Okay.
I believe it's one of the Wakanda scenes. You see Hulk for the trailer. You get to the movie, and it's Banner and the Hulkbuster.
That's right.
So, modifying scenes purely for the trailer to deceive the audience.
That's okay.
As long as it's not done too much where you can see it. Marvel had a habit of doing that.
I would say if it's not something that's going to change the story completely, or it's not something fans really want and you're baiting them in to see it.
There's the one shot back, Spider-Man 3 from 07. There's the shot in the trailer where he's in the black suit hanging upside down and his reflection is the red, or it's the other way around, but you don't get that split dynamic in the actual film.
Right.
But it's a great way for a trailer. Something like that is great for the film, is for a trailer. Because you realize that, in this case, Spidey is fighting his inner demons.
So it's a metaphorical thing.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So something like that, but then hiding the fact Banner and the Hulkbuster was just cool.
I think you can lose fans or make them angry if you intentionally throw stuff in the trailer that's not in the film. But if it is metaphorical like that,
Metaphorical.
That's fine.
No, but actually throwing stuff in. Also, I don't know, and sometimes we never get an answer to this, if the scene was purely for the trailer, or if it maybe at one point it's a deleted scene that they put in the trailer but then got cut.
yeah.
And sometimes, like, okay, that's where that comes from. It's a deleted scene. But sometimes we don't get all the deleted scenes.
That's true.
I mean, look at the Middle-earth saga.
Were there bonus features on this? There were deleted scenes.
And there's a commentary.
Oh, I'll have to watch that sometime. You know what I would do? Oh, go ahead.
The
finish.
Middle-earth saga. We know there's deleted scenes out there for those songs. We've never gotten them. So even though I have what they call the Ultimate 31 disc, and I added to it so I have all the I've got every piece of release bonus material for those movies.
Right.
And yeah, you get glimpses when you're watching the documentaries, but they're not listed separately. It's not just the deleted scenes.
Okay.
So I would love to see some of those scenes. There's a varied storyline of the Helm's Deep with Arwen, Liv Tyler's character. In the film, she's not at the battle. So there's a whole scene that's an alternate version.
Ooh. And we've never gotten that, huh?
No, we've never gotten stuff like that. So yeah, you may get deleted scenes on disc, but are you getting them all? Or are they holding stuff back purposefully?
They want more money out of you. What I was saying, Spaceballs 2, you know how I would
Search
I
for
would
more
have
money?
You know what I would have for the trailer? Is we finally got it. We got the rights to the merchandise. George Lucas runs him over with the van. No, you don't. I have those rights.
The question is, and maybe one of you guys know this because I haven't really looked it up. When George sold to Disney, does he still have the merchandising rights?
I don't know. But it would be a funny joke for the movie. Or have it, that guy is out there combing the desert. How long we've been combing this desert for years. We still ain't found shit. But you don't see, for something like that, the fans that want to see that are going to go see that. So you don't need to show much.
Something
besides
like that,
these little
something
joke
like
teasers.
that as a callback to a previous film
Yeah.
is okay.
Start looking at this new technology. We can pre-record now. Look at this. We don't need these cassette tapes. We don't need these VHSs.
Yeah,
we got 4K.
Instant cassettes. Oh God. Oh. That's one of the funniest things.
I found the money. We can get a bigger budget for the sequel.
Well, let's search for more money.
But when you're marketing, you put together these trailers to intrigue people, but not spoil everything. So like Abigail, you could have done it as a ransom video, and don't reveal the twist is she's a vampire. Have it be just this kid they're kidnapping, and they're going to get a lot of money out.
Well, the problem is
it's a heist movie then.
The ransom, holding someone captive type film, would attract one type of audience.
Right.
The vampire attracts a different type of audience.
So how could they have played that differently to not
Now,
show
maybe
too
not
much?
show too much. Maybe show people getting yanked, but not what.
Yes.
So it starts off and then it's like something's going after them. And maybe show bits of Abigail scared.
Like, because whenever she was scared in the bed and
from
stuff.
the
at
beginning,
yeah. So a scared kid, that there's something attacking them, but they don't know what, and she is helpless because she's in this room.
Yeah.
That would have worked. So yeah, there's a way you could go at a certain angle you could do.
Without
to do that.
spoiling everything.
And that's what we were discussing. So, you know, when we were doing movie reviews, I told him I've noticed we tend to review the movie and then we talk about like what the movie makes us think of outside of just that movie. So this made us think of spoiling everything in the trailer. So we go on these tangents, but they're not really tangents. They're more of how we connect one movie to the bigger thing that is film and why we're into this. This is exactly when I was sitting down one day with going through my movies, I thought about when you have a movie, it should either make you laugh, it should make you smile. There should be something about the film you like. But this is a movie that was made for me, right up my alley.
There should be some emotion.
Yeah.
The movie should draw some emotional response.
Inconceivable.
That movie makes me smile every single time.
Yes.
I have the 2-disc DVD Princess Buttercup edition.
That's awesome.
They actually released, it's the same versions of the discs and all that, but like the cover, it's different.
Ah.
There's also a Dread Pirates Roberts edition that's more actiony. The cover and all that focuses more on the action, while the Princess Buttercup cover focuses on the romance. Which is great because they did the same thing when the movie was originally released with the posters. They released one for the action and one for romance because it does have that dual.
Yes, it does.
But another one, the original King Kong from 33 and even the 05 remake, and the original 54/56 if you have the American version of Godzilla, make me cry at the end. Especially the 05 with it being in color. You see the light leave the monkey's eyes before he goes off the building.
Jesus.
If you know King Kong, you know it ends with him going off the Empire State Building.
And I love King Kong. He's my favorite.
You see the light leave his eyes before he falls.
Jesus.
And I wrote a paper on that movie comparing the original to the 05 remake because it was so similar of a remake. I was able to compare box office numbers, how it made me feel being a fan of the original. And part of it is like, if I did not cry when that monkey went off the building, the director failed. Nope, Peter Jackson succeeded. I bawled like a baby.
It's one of those films.
Godzilla wouldn't have gotten the emotional response it did out of me if it wasn't for that final death roar before he goes under the water for the last time. It's stuff like that. And yeah, I know these are giant monster movies, but they triggered that response.
Right.
Because where you connect to them on that
Yeah.
that animalistic level, you realize they're still living beings. And Godzilla, he was bugged. They woke him up with the atomic bomb and all that. Of course he was upset.
Right.
And then they killed his hands. Kong just wanted to be left alone on his island.
Exactly.
People bought him back for money, and then they killed him again.
But yeah, do the movies like this, do they trigger emotions? Obviously, the Ortega Rudd scene at the end. Oh, that got me the first time I watched this.
Oh, yeah. I'll admit, that was sad.
Yeah. The father-daughter relationship. You see so many father-sons or mother-son, mother-daughter. You don't really see that. I could think
A
of
father-daughter relationship isn't... Well, there are some out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know they've done them before. And normally it's more of a wider family dynamic.
Right.
Having just the father-daughter dynamic is great.
And I can't think of anywhere it's just been like you said, it's usually like a single mom with her kids. Like, don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. It's usually like the mom and the kids.
It's not always you say father-daughter, but there's also usually that father figure. Maybe not her actual dad, but someone that stepped into that role or is just
Yeah.
a mentor of some sort.
Absolutely.
And movies like that, they are great. Anything that where they have that familiar bond, that family bond, is fun and entertaining. And it's even more fun when they tie that into something else, whether it be the unicorns here or other movies. One family bond we don't need is Michael Myers and Laurie Strode.
Oh, Jesus.
Brother sister, for those of you that have not seen the original Halloween 2. They end up being brother and sister, which is then continued into 4, 5, and 6, or 7 and 8, depending on which timeline you're watching, because the Halloween movie timeline is all out of whack.
From what you've told me, it's really hard to follow.
Do not watch all 8 in a row. Because otherwise, events in previous films are going to contradict because it's technically a separate timeline.
Okay.
Same with the Blumhouse trilogy. That they are not brother and sister in those films.
No, they're not.
Because it erases Halloween 2 from the timeline. That is just the original 1978 and then the 3 Blumhouse films. Season of the Witch stands on its own. It's not connected to any of the others. And then there's the 2 Rob Zombies. They're on their own. So the Halloween films timelines are wonky. But yeah, getting that family relationship, whether it be mother-son, mother-daughter, father-daughter, even there's some good brother-sister ones out there. You want a good one? Cursed.
I've seen a show called Cursed.
No, Werewolf.
Ooh.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay.
If I'm remembering right, maybe. I don't remember who plays the brother, so don't quote me on the Eisenberg. But I believe Christina Ricci is the sister.
Called Cursed.
Directed by Wes Craven. If you can, find the unrated version.
When did it come out?
Early 2000s.
Why haven't I don't know how... See, there's all these films I've missed.
It's a werewolf movie.
And people say there aren't enough werewolf movies out there.
Oh, no, you just gotta know how to find them. But Craven's take on the werewolf film is awesome.
We'll have to check that out for the channel. See, this is another reason why we do this. We learn about other movies that
I
we
grew
missed.
up watching Cursed. It's one of those that the paper insert, the cover art got damaged. So Dad printed off his own. And it didn't have anything fancy on it. It was just artwork, so we knew what the movie was. And he did this basic computer. We didn't have any fancy programming. We just had like paint.
Right.
And he made this cover so we knew what was in the case.
That's awesome.
And he did this once. He took what we call the brown box for Dracula and Frankenstein, because the artwork on the back of those are wonderful. Filled in the gap between the two and made a desktop out of it. So it looks like they're coming down, Dracula's coming down the stairs, and then there's the monster.
Okay.
So because of the way the coloring on the case is what it fit perfectly.
That's some creativity right there.
It was. And I'll admit, I would love to do that, but I don't have the artwork for those. But some stuff like that, just for the fun, because you see these and you're like, that made a great desktop, and you end up having to make it yourself because no one's done it.
That's awesome that your dad got creative like that. What I want to wrap it up, tie this back into, when you have that relationship, you're automatically rooting for them. You as the audience are rooting for
There's
them.
that automatic rooting for the family.
Right.
Yes.
And then you meet the other family and you're like, oh, they're assholes. There's that asshole family.
So there's some family members that I don't root for. Anything with okay.
Krampus.
Charlie and Bella, despite I don't really care for the Twilight movies.
I like
But the
Charlie.
their family dynamic, they did play well together.
Yes. Very well. With Ortega and Paul
Well, there's
Rudd,
another father-daughter because her mom's barely in it.
Yeah, because and if you read I've read the books. She lives in Arizona.
Yes, I remember that from the movie.
Yeah,
they make it.
They
thing
briefly
about
get
that.
in there, but she's more in the books than she is in the film. They cut her
do
time
that
out
a
a
lot.
lot.
If they didn't really need the character for the story, they will cut it.
But what I like about their dynamic in that one, Charlie lets her have her own space. He doesn't sit there and try to like micromanage her. He's like, all right, I got this stuff for you, this for you. See you later. Like,
Yeah, but then he gives a pepper spray when she goes on a date. So
Still got that pepper spray? Yeah. I've watched that movie enough. The baseball scene. Anyway, but yeah, the father-daughter relationship, I automatically was cheering for them whenever it kind of
Agreed.
reveals they have a backstory. And they get into like, oh, this isn't just a comedy. There's some tragedy here. And I thought that made for a really interesting story. This was a must-own for me. It's my type of film. A24. We'll have to look up later.
I'm gonna have to look more into those films because A24, and I've seen it, what you said.
While you're talking, I'm going to look it up while we can talk about it on camera a bit.
Studio Ghibli.
Oh, I love it. I've only seen a few.
Those are good.
I've got Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away.
I mean, we mentioned when I did the collection video. Don't focus on one studio. Don't be focused on just for them. Don't be loyal to just one studio because you may miss out on some great releases. One we still need to cover is Arrow's release of Trick or Treat.
I have the Arrow release at home.
Well, I don't have the Scream Factory copy myself. My dad does. And before I got my copy, I borrowed his 1 year for Halloween because it became a tradition for me watching that every Halloween.
Every Halloween, yeah.
And the Scream Factory is a nice release, but I would love to see what Arrow did with the film, especially with it being 4K rather than just normal Blu-ray.
I have that at home. We will be doing that on this channel. Okay, here's a list. Their first movie was February 8th, 2013, A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III. Spring Breakers. I haven't seen that one. I heard it's good.
That's A24.
Ginger and Rosa.
I've not seen it, but I saw all the trailers, Selena Gomez and all that. She was trying to get out of that whole Disney Channel.
It was kind of weird.
She was trying to get out of the whole Disney Channel image. You know, you get that they grow up on Disney Channel. They're these nice kids trying to get more adult films.
Yes.
That's what that was. It was her getting out of that Disney Channel spotlight.
And I heard it mixed things. Some people liked it.
I've never actually seen it.
The Bling Ring. This was made off of a true story. People stole wealthy celebrities. They like robbed their houses. So like Emma Watson's in it. A group of fame-obsessed teenagers known as the Bling Ring use social media to track celebrities and steal from their homes.
That's not creepy.
The Spectacular Now. Haven't seen that one. Enemy. I'll just name some ones that you might have heard of. I didn't realize they've been around since 2013.
So they're still fairly new in the world of...
They're not afraid to take chances and try new things.
That's what makes studios
The
like
Witch, I heard, is amazing. Have you seen that one?
No.
In the 1630s, a parent and family encounters forces of evil in the woods beyond their New England farm. It's not a found. It was supposed to be really creepy. Green Room, I haven't seen that one. I heard about that.
Studios like that. They're fairly new, but they seem to be doing well. Otherwise, I mean, by now they probably would have already fizzled out.
De Palma, a documentary about filmmaker Brian De Palma.
Ooh.
Swiss Army Man. That was a man stranded on an island uses a corpse to escape. Daniel Radcliffe's dead body's boner allows him to surf on the water.
Oh, God.
It's supposed to be really weird.
But they seem to be doing all right for themselves. You look at the studios like Universal, Warner Brothers, and New Line. I mean, the New Line's only been around since like the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, whenever the first Nightmare came out. Because New Line Studios is literally known as the house that Freddy built.
Yes.
Because New Line owes their success to A Nightmare on Elm Street.
So that's what got them on the map.
And they know it. Universal's been around since the 20s.
They've been around a long time, yeah.
They just celebrated a few years ago their 100th anniversary.
Wow.
That's why if you watch new releases, they get the nice, colorful Universal, or not really colorful, but the vivid is the word I'm looking for. It's a nice blue and all that, and they slightly changed it. That's that 100th anniversary logo.
Gotcha. Okay.
And what's great is when they first started doing those, they'd show other logos throughout the years.
Okay.
How the Universal logo has changed throughout the years.
Universal is one of the most well-known studios.
Usually I know them because, well, Universal, they're monsters.
Right.
Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, those films.
The good stuff.
Then you get Jurassic Park later down the line. And there's tons in between, Back to the Future and all those. There are in-between ones. But just off the top of my head, those are the ones that come to mind because I've always enjoyed those giant monster movies.
They did
think
the
they-
Florida Project.
I think they did the 05 Calm because I think they got the rights to RKO's filmography. And RKO is the one that did the original Calm.
There you go. A Midsummer. Supposed to be really good.
Who's Deanie?
You got The Lighthouse, Uncut Gems, the Adam Sandler movie.
Okay.
You've got,
Hey, Vintage Stock is having an Independence Day sale.
what is it?
V-Stock's having a July 4th sale.
X, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Still need to see that.
Wait, that's an A24?
Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
I do want to see that one because I enjoyed the multiverse concept before.
The Whale. It's Brendan Fraser. You like the multiverse stuff?
Well, I'd been familiar with the multiverse concept before the MCU and all that made it big. Because comic books. I was familiar with the concept of different universes. Because my dad would read these books when he was slightly younger, before I came along, and I enjoyed them. Or he would mention them to me, we'd just talk about them just for fun of it. So something like that. And now the multiverse is, well, it's all over the place now.
Jurassic World did it. Well, no, that's not. That's just a bunch of characters coming. Yeah, Marvel's done it.
Yeah. So with Jurassic Park / World, they're bringing back legacy characters.
Right.
Which can work. But at the same time, if you're doing it just to bring in fans, I mean, take Fallen Order, the second Jurassic World.
Fallen Kingdom.
Kingdom, thank you.
Yeah.
They advertised Jeff Goldblum in the film pretty heavily in the advertisement. You remember he's barely in the movie.
Right.
He's at the beginning, he's at the end. That's it. So that was a way for them to,
Make some money.
oh, Malcolm's back. Draw the fans in. And then they I think they realized what they did because when they did Dominion, you had Ellie Sadler back, you had Grant, and they were in it more. Now, I'm not saying they couldn't have put Goldblum in Fallen Kingdom more. Maybe that's all he had time to do.
Could have been.
But making the advertising focusing on him. That was with it. That was the cash grab.
That's a cash grab, and that's
Now,
another thing we
Scream
could talk
7.
about.
And I'm bringing this up because isn't Sydney coming back?
Sydney's coming back. No Tara or Melissa, which we know why, but a lot of people are probably not going to see it because of all this stuff that happened behind the scenes.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
mean,
lot
I
of-
want to see it. I don't pay attention too much to behind the scenes stuff. But I think the only movie I refused to see because of behind the scenes stuff was Aquaman 2.
Yep, same. Screw that.
And that's
say.
just because what they did to Johnny Depp was just ridiculous.
Yes.
But even after he was proven innocent and all that, it was just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
they haven't backpedaled. They haven't taken it back yet.
Yeah. But, so I wouldn't mind seeing it because, yeah, they may be cheesy little slasher films, but they're good cheesy little slasher films. They're enjoyable and it's fun. Something like Scream where the killer's different each time, figuring out who's behind the mask is part of the mystique.
Yeah, it's not in necessarily, it's who's doing it and why. That's what's fun about the Scream films. You're trying to figure out who's doing it and why. We still need to watch Hard Eyes together for the channel.
Yes.
But yeah, Scream. Oh, that's another series we could get into. The thing is, we just film when we have time, so we can't schedule regular episodes. Just not going to happen with our schedules. But here and there, as we go, you'll see we'll do videos when we have time.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, this was a must-have for my collection. It's my kind of film. You guys all probably have it, and those kind of films where when you see it out in the wild, you're like, or you see it online, oh, I got to get this. Now we've seen that a lot of advertisements for the movies and theaters that already have the Steelbook for pre-order online that pops up.
I mean,
They've already got the new Jurassic World advertised for pre-order.
Bloodlines was the same way.
Yep, Bloodlines. Wicked. A lot of
I
films
don't
have been doing
remember
that.
seeing a steelbook for Bloodline, but they only had the pre-order available before we ever went to go see it in theaters.
Right. They're jumping on
Or
that
shortly
early
after.
because they want to get those sales from those fans that want it right away. That's guaranteed money if they put it up for pre-order, because some people like us, if we know it's a series we like, we're going to go ahead and put the money out.
And we're completionists. Well, we want to have them all.
Right. I'm like that. There's still some series I need to get more copies, or I need to finish series.
I told you the Halloweens if you want to get the rest. Scream Factory, just buy the 4Ks. You'll spend a lot less than what I did. And from my research, everything that's on that bonus disc got split between the individual movies.
Okay.
So you'll get them cheaper, and you can space them out rather than just the bulk.
There you go. I will warn you guys.
I didn't notice that until after I ordered that, but I'm happy with what I got because it is a piece.
It's in good condition.
Physical media history that the only way to get it is used, and I enjoy stuff like that. The massive box sets.
Oh yeah.
The only downside to something like that is with it being in one box set. Due to my organization, I get gaps.
That's true.
At the end of my shelves, because it's like, oh, pull one, and then it's another box that I'm moving to the next shelf, so I've got a gap.
Right. I will warn you guys, movie collecting, once you go down that rabbit hole and you get into the hobby, it's almost every, because like him and I were talking, there's always a film you don't have that you want. You'll see it out at the store and go, I got to get that now. And then it's like, oh, wait, this is part of a 5-movie series. Now I need to get the rest of, it's just a rabbit hole you can go down.
The only one I'm not compelled to buy the rest of, that I have the first one, is The Crow.
Yeah.
I've got the first one on Blu-ray, and I do not feel compelled to buy the sequels like I have with some.
Me either.
Maybe it's more the ones I'm compelled to buy. The others is the slashers, or ones where I know the story continues in the sequels.
Right.
But The Crow is just the same story.
It's a one and done. That's all they needed was that one movie with Brandon Lee.
Yeah. But wonderful films. We do need to do part 2 for my collection one of these days.
Yeah, and I warn you guys, we do get kind of wordy, so don't be surprised if you see another 2-hour video up.
Sorry about that. I got one of my coworkers. Showed him the channel. He looked. He's like, part 1 of your collection is 2 hours, and that's only one bookshelf.
Yeah, I've seen videos on YouTube where I'll start them and finish them later where it's like 6 hours because they talk about the movies. Hey, if we would have reviewed our lunch that day, it would have been probably about 3.5 hours. So we saved you about an hour and a half by eating after the video. Because if we would have ate before, we would have thrown the review in of our lunch, and that would have took another hour and a half because we would have had to talk about each aftertaste, from each sip of soda we took, and the barbecue sauce or whatever kind of seasonings we used.
But yeah, so I think that's one I may get. I may not get that exact release, but I can find just a basic Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because, I don't need these special edition physicals where they come with like the cards and all that for Austin left. I think
okay.
I don't need all these where they come with the physical goodies. There are some that are nice. My Lord of the Rings set, the 4K set I bought, the 31 disc, it came with like travel cards for the different
Yes.
ones. And I think that's one of the only ones that I've got that I got with the physical stuff.
How do you feel about the physical stuff? Do you like it? Like, let's say they came out with Trick or Treat and it came with like a cool limited edition figure of Sam.
Oh, if it came with like a pop figure, a little figure of Sam, yes. That's small stuff like that I can display.
That's what I mean by physical stuff. I'd like to get more stuff to display.
But sometimes those physicals, they're not always, you can't always display them without spending more money for like a stand or something.
Well, like for me with these cards, I'll keep them in the case, but you could put them in a photo album, but why bother?
Those postcards, and I can say the same thing about the Lord of the Rings ones, that they're actually in the box that came with the films that held like the one bonus disc and all that. I can keep that separate, that way it doesn't take up a slot on my shelf. I could get like the plastic things you see for like the decorative plates.
Wait,
they're like little hinges and they're designed for like decorative plates.
Okay.
But you could use those or something similar to display these postcard-like ones or these pictures.
That's a good point. I could put the photo album. I'm just gonna leave them in the box. I like that because I've bought in a few at flea markets or antique shops where they still had the booklets in the even that I miss, where you get booklets with their than the code for the online. I like getting the little books.
Now, I mean, even nowadays with DVDs, they've stopped even putting a little paper insert. Yeah, I know one movie that does.
I have a Criterion book of Princess Bride, and it came with like a full book.
I need to see if my copy has this because I had ordered online. It does.
Even just something like that's cool.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cover art on one side. Yes, this is the 60s Batman movie with Adam West. And a simple thing for scene selection.
Hey, baby, you want some Adam West penis?
That way you don't always have to pop the movie in. You can see, hey. And based on the titles of the scenes, you can figure out, okay, this is where I'm at. Okay, Alright, chapter 3, The Suicidal Shark.
Oh, God.
And it sounds wrong. If you've ever seen this movie, it is incredibly campy and cheesy, and the shark is extremely rubbery when Adam West hits it.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's like little figuring up, okay, do I have time to watch this? Not only looking at the runtime, but also scene selection you can see how much is left without trying. If your vision's not very well and you hit the info button, you can't always see on the screen, oh, this is how much time's left.
Right.
So with scene selection, you'll get basically an idea of where you're at in the movie. And you're like, okay, maybe. There's been times like that where I've got to go to work and I'll be watching my list, my watch I keep. Because it's like, I know where I'm at in the film. It's this time. I have a rough idea of how much time's left. And I'm like, I'm going to have to stop this.
And finish it later, yeah. I hate doing that too, but I have to do that sometimes.
But yeah, even Discard. I mean, that one had a nice one with the unicorn, but nowadays...
I love that, yeah. You can't even find that in a lot of them, so...
No, nowadays it's just a plain disc with the title.
Yep. So yeah, that's what we mean by that. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Any more final thoughts to share on the movie?
On Death of a Unicorn?
Yeah.
Definitely enjoyable. If I can find a basic Blu-ray release, I'll probably pick it up.
I think Walmart will be getting it soon. I pre-ordered mine. I'm sure it'll be here within the next week or so at Walmart. Because somebody was complaining on the group word part of it, they don't have a DVD release. Walmart.com has a DVD release for like $17 on its website.
Got a question to throw past you back here at the end. I have the complete Arrowverse on DVD except for my Supergirl, which is a Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Stargirl Season 3 only got a DVD release while the other two seasons got Blu-rays.
What the hell?
I'm about to say, thoughts on that? Only releasing a movie on one format.
If you're going to be consistent, it's fine. If it's a series, like if they do all three on DVD or all three on Blu-ray, cool. But if you've done the first two on Blu-ray and then you go down the third one on DVD,
well, they also I've got them on DVD myself.
DVD's fine.
So I've got all three DVD, but my mom found them season 1 and 2 fairly cheap when we were building this so we could watch them together. Blu-ray. But then when season 3 dropped, there was no Blu-ray release. And I didn't realize they didn't release a Blu-ray at all until I posted a picture of all that to the collecting group. And somebody mentioned, wait, Stargirl season 3 is out? I haven't seen the Blu-ray for it. And that's when I went and looked. It only got a DVD release.
Dang. It doesn't make sense if you're going to offer Blu-ray quality, but then not offer it in the third one.
TV shows does not. I don't see the gimmick of getting shows on TV unless... I know Murder, She Wrote just got the Blu-ray treatment. And I've seen someone shared screenshots and it looks beautiful.
Uh-huh.
But with TV shows, they're done for TVs, and nowadays, TVs are better quality.
Right.
But back when Murder, She Wrote was done, you were still dealing with cathode ray tube, the big bulky TVs.
That's right.
So, I mean, how much better can you get?
We've discussed this before.
I mean, when they do 4K, and I know sometimes 4K, I mean, the picture may look really sharp in some areas, but in others, I know Cinderella, for instance, when they did, I don't know if it was the 4K or just the normal Blu-ray, but they removed some of the outlines on her dress from like where it's supposed to be like folds. Because of the way they scrubbed the grain, it removed some of the art.
I would say, for me personally, how I feel is old black and white stuff, don't go past Blu-ray on it, because Blu-ray's gonna make it crisper. But if you go beyond that, it looks fake. I think it throws things off. So I would say old stuff, keep it to Blu-ray at max quality.
I don't mind digitally restoring them. And I say digitally because it's good, because you try and restore them by hand and you can mess up the film. But I mean, if you're restoring them by hand in the computer, going bit by bit, you can fix issues if you make a mistake.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Don't go past Blu-ray for those classic Universals or Godzilla or any of those old black and whites, because you get that clear image, so you don't gotta worry about it looking super sharp. Because if you get too sharp, then you can see all the wires and all that. Even on this DVD for Batman, there's this bit where they're climbing up the side of a building, and obviously the camera's rotating actually on the floor. That's how they filmed it. But you can see the wire attached to their capes that are holding them out. So even DVDs, you catch little mistakes like that. Or not only, I won't say mistakes, but the gimmicks they use. I mean, this one was done in '66, so you're going to see stuff like that. Right. They didn't have the tech to erase that out. But stuff like that is what makes these older films, when you can spot the way they did the effect.
The thing is, let's look at it logically as a consumer. We buy movies, right?
Yes.
Shows. Okay, when you're watching a comedy, do you really need a 4K for a comedy film?
No.
No, it doesn't make the movie funnier. They just came out with Tommy Boy on 4K, I saw. But they're coming out with it.
Some people
might want that.
There's another group that are just focused on 4K. I saw it's like groups you may like. But I prefer to stick with the Blu-ray DVD group, because they do touch into the 4K, but
because 4K is a form of Blu-ray, so they tie it all together.
Yeah, when they're not focused on it. We don't need all these movies on 4K.
To me, 4K should be reserved for things like Avatar, Titanic, visual masterpieces that would look really good in 4K.
As long as
Marvel films,
as long as they're done right.
If they're naturally filmed in 4K now, then I could see it.
Yes.
But if even modern comedies, I'm not buying the 4K Blu-ray. If it's just a basic comedy.
Death of a Unicorn, Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. If they would have come out with the 4K of this, and it would have had like special stuff, if it was Blu-ray, 4K plus Blu-ray, I might have got it. But I'm perfectly happy with this. If they come out with Death of the Unicorn a year later in 4K, I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to get the 4K.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be 4K. It's still graphically, visually, we saw it still looks great.
Yeah.
Blu-ray is the best of both worlds because you get your more bonus features, and you have picture and sound quality. So to me, if I am either on a budget or even if I have the money, sometimes I'll go, you know what? I don't need the 4K on this. I'm just going to get the Blu-ray. Because I have series where I got DVD for the first one. For a Christmas gift, I got the Blu-ray for the second one. And then I bought the 4K for the third one. So, that's one thing. My formatting is bad. But yeah, I don't think, okay, let's look at your shows. House. Would House be better in 4K? Would you spend the extra, say, $50, $60 just to get 4K on House? No. But like Gotham, maybe. It's a newer show, great graphics, great action sequences. You might want it for that.
Okay, look at something even newer than Gotham.
Wednesday. I would buy the 4K Wednesday because it is a modern show.
If it was naturally filmed in 4K, yeah.
I think it was.
The Blu-ray looks crisper even than the streaming one on Netflix does. Okay. So the Blu-ray was worth the buy.
Yes.
4K, don't know. Maybe. They feel maybe a gimmicky thing in.
Special features?
Artwork, some actual goodies. Yes.
A comic book, something. A little booklet,
A booklet would be cool.
Inside the Mind of Wednesday Addams. What to bring on a camping trip whenever you suspect a foe might be amongst you. But no, the question as a collector is that 4K, that extra $5-10, depending on what kind of 4K it is it really worth it? For some films, the answer to you, it's
Is-
different for every person.
it's an
To you, it might be a yes. For
Some
other
of them
people, it
are
might be a
obvious
no.
no.
I'm looking at some of your films. We
4K.
talked about Universal Monsters.
All right.
It wouldn't need a 4K.
No, I only have one film that is purely 4K sitting over. The rest are combo packs.
Was that Godzilla?
Godzilla -1.
We still need to watch that.
Because on the back it says 4K Blu-ray, but what the Blu-ray disc is the bonus disc. It's goodies. So the movie itself is just 4K.
But the question you have to ask yourself, like Prey, I love the 4K version of Prey I have. It's one of my favorite movies.
I've got all the Predator and Alien movies on Blu-ray. I don't think I need them much better than that.
No, Blu-ray is perfectly fine. Especially if you're trying to be a completionist, get a whole series. Blu-ray can be a lot cheaper than 4K, but you're still getting good visual and audio. So it's not always worth it. Like, for example, I'm looking at Mars Attacks. Blu-ray, that's perfect. It's great. I think I just have the DVD maybe. But
Where's Mars Attacks?
if Mars Attacks, if that doesn't need a 4K release. That would not need a 4K release based on the type of film you're telling me it is.
No. This was designed as like part of the TV show. It's campy.
Yeah.
And yeah, 4K visual masterpiece. You mentioned
Titanic.
and Avatar. James Cameron.
Ready Player One would be probably another good one in 4K.
The Middle Earth Collection. That's why I spent the money I did to get the 4K. They locked that extra disc of bonus material on.
You had to have it.
Yes, I did. When it comes to the bonus material of that film set, I love delving into every bit of that.
Have you sat down and watched a lot of it?
Everything. Lord of the Rings, yes. Hobbit, no.
Okay, we got to watch the movies for the channel.
Oh, movies I've seen repeatedly.
But and we've also been discussing Harry Potter, so stay tuned for that. Wednesday season 2 will be coming out soon.
Which means we need to get started on season 1 with the way our gaps have been in doing our videos.
We could possibly do season 1 before 2 because we're gonna be having a party, so that we will be filming part of that party as part of the
And
channel.
we can do that mobile.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing something special for season 2. He already knows I'm up to something we've been doing. I won't spoil what we're doing. We are working on some pieces they're going to go with. Maybe more than one piece. But we're going to go, not a pun intended for the One Piece show. I'm watching that now. But no, it's going to be fun. But yeah, guys, we can talk all day about physical media because we've been buying physical media for a while. I started early like you. It was like birthday gifts and stuff, and I only had a few titles growing up, so it wasn't like I had
I
a
started
lot.
helping out with the Honeybee Fund like I do. And that was my money because that was just pocket money. I didn't have the expenses that I have now. I didn't have bills because I was living with my aunt.
Right.
She took care of everything pretty much. So what little I did work, because it was just helping out here and there, it wasn't a guaranteed thing every month. It was nice. I had a little bit of pocket money, so when I had the money and I found something I wanted, I bought it.
Right.
It started off as my collection could pretty much fit on top of one of those bookcases.
Oh, same. I had a little bitty thing. A lot of it was my dad's films, and it wasn't anything I would have been that
And then
interested in.
it's just expanded.
It started very slow, but then I think because of being able to go to like antique shops and discovering dollar movies or these movie stores, it grew quicker because we've been able to go online. We've been able to, and as collectors, when you don't have a lot of
when I got hired on at Denny's, the worst mistake I made getting in a checking account, bank card, an ATM card.
Oh boy.
That let me order online. The amount of I've online shopped more than I've gone in stores some places because of finding these movies. But I'm also cautious of who I buy from online. I don't go eBay.
No.
Well, I know some people in that collecting group will go, you could have gotten that cheaper on eBay. I'd rather have a guarantee from at least the site I'm buying from, then I'm going to physically get the item because they're handling the shipping. It's like it ships from them, so they physically already have the item. And then in the case of like my games, my game consoles, because that's still a kind of physical media, they may be expensive, slightly overpriced, people say, and I agree, yeah. But it comes with a 1-year warranty on everything you buy.
Right.
So it's worth that little extra money, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Like if you go to like Grove, Walmart.com.
Grove is one of my go-tos. Walmart.com, Amazon, directly from these boutique labels.
Yeah, I got this from A24.
Yeah,
I've purchased from Orbit DVD.
I've purchased from Shout Factory.
What?
You love making that joke every time I say Shout Factory, don't you?
I didn't hear what you said.
I said you love making that joke every time I say Shout Factory.
What factory?
Every time I say Scream or Shout Factory, he does this.
Oh, God. Okay, Shout. No, the joke started, I went with a friend of mine to Dollar General, and he said he wanted Shout soap.
Oh,
and
God.
I said, he goes, do they have the Shout? I'll go check. I buy the Shout. I come out and go, they have the Shout. The windows are down. He just yells, great. So then the next time I went to Dollar General, they said, you're the Shout guy, aren't you? And so I became the Shout guy.
Oh, God.
They do not officially sponsor our channel. Anything we say about Shout is not affiliated. Thank you. But yeah.
This is just us being us. We will do this off camera. There's been times, like, even today, if you notice, I'm not really looking at the camera too much. It's because I will just talk and not even think about the camera sitting there.
When you're sitting with a friend and talking, even with the camera in front of you, you can relax. When it's me on my own, I'm more aware of like other stuff. I do a podcast.
Now the podcast you had me on, that was more. Oh, I know I'm recording for something else.
Right.
I'm not just thoughts out loud talking with a friend. But yeah, so yeah. Probably a basic release I'll get my hands on because it'll probably be the same Blu-ray disc. I don't need the artwork cards. Granted, the box is nice.
They might come out with this at Walmart.
I like the way the box is. Because, yeah, it may be cardboard, but it's not super flimsy.
What sold me on it is on the back. It gives you a synopsis of the movie. When you open it, you've got the cards in there and you have the art. That's what sold me on it.
Yeah, I mean,
it came directly from A24.
If it was just this,
I'd be perfectly happy with that too.
I don't know. Because
no, not without the slipcover, no.
No, that's what I mean. Just this without the slip.
We've talked about that too. It's packaging we don't like. I don't like the overlap disc where it's like two on top of each other, basically touching or anything. I don't like that at all.
TV shows are bad for that.
My Riverdale fell out when I opened it. One of my discs fell out because I have season 1 and 2 on DVD before I got that. I'm going to keep it just in case.
Those discs are always loose. And
that's why it's cheap, though.
What was the one I just got?
What was your last show? Haven?
Haven was the last one I bought.
Yeah, I see it over there on the shelf.
I got Haven, Falling Skies, House, because me and my mother, while we watch stuff together, we take turns picking shows. So she picked Falling Skies, and she also wants to watch Heroes.
Have you watched Falling Skies yet?
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I haven't even heard of that one. Or Haven.
I've heard of it. I've seen commercials, but Haven is based off Stephen King.
Ooh.
It's based off a short story of his called The Colorado Kid. It takes place in this town in Maine. People have abilities. One of the main characters, his ability is he can't feel pain like at all.
Like Novocaine.
Same principle. Yeah, his fingers get like slammed in the car door. He feels nothing.
Oh, damn. That sounds really good.
Yeah, but pain is your body's way of telling you something is wrong.
Right.
Because there's this bit when this other guy is making the gun in his... Because, I mean, the guy's a cop. The guy is making the cop's gun heat up in his hand. So the other main character's like, put the gun down, it's burning. Because, yeah, you may not feel the pain, but the burn is still going to affect you.
It's still doing damage, yeah.
But, yeah, and Mom wanted to do Falling Skies and also Heroes. Well, I got to order Heroes. But House was sitting right there on the shelf, and Mom already has that one, so that is a backup. And then I happened to walk into Walmart last payday, and there was Haven. We had talked about wanting to do Haven in the past.
Right. So it's been on your radar for a while.
When I had an order, because I never found it directly from Walmart, it was always a third party, and I'm cautious of third party salesmen just to be safe, even through Walmart and Amazon. That's why when I said it ships from like Amazon or fulfilled by Walmart, when I know that that company is actually handling it, I feel safe. I'm going to get my product. I'm going to get what I ordered. But hey, yeah, Haven, I'd seen it online. I had looked. So when I walked in and saw it physically sitting there, I actually saw it before payday. And I got a hold of Mom. I'm like, Mom, check your Walmart because I'm looking at Haven right now on the shelf. She bought hers before I got back on payday to get mine. Bought it. Payday goes around, I get mine, and that's one of the next shows we're going to watch.
Yeah, because you guys watch a lot together. The speed you're able to get through some of these
TV shows mainly because we do about 2 episodes a night.
That's great.
If not more on like Monday nights because I don't work
It takes me months to get through a show. The Addams Family took me like 3 or 4 months because I just watched an episode here and there.
I was about to say, you took forever with the Addams Family. I would have had done that done like a month.
I love it, but yeah, I had other stuff I was watching in between. I usually do a show and then I do movies in between kind of the episodes. But
movie-wise, me and Mom, if we know like a certain time of year is coming up, like for Halloween, we'll put our TV shows on hold.
And watch movies.
And watch some spooky movies. I told Mom we need to do a binge of like all the Halloweens, even though the timelines may not make sense. I gotta make sure they all play. I'm hoping they do, because physically I inspected the discs when I got the set. They all look beautiful. They look good, so I'm hoping they all play well.
Yeah, I do too.
But yeah, it's stuff like that, and I'm gonna have to get another shelf because I've got them just sitting over the double.
Yeah, I have double row 2 going on at one of my shelves.
The 2 things that we've got out that me and Mom are working on right now is the show Lucifer. And we're on season 5 or 6 of that already.
Yeah, you didn't start that long ago.
No, we booked through that because the original run on show was only 3 seasons. 4, 5, and 6 were Netflix picking it up.
That's right. I forgot about that detail.
And then the other one sitting over there where you can see the disc sitting on the case is called Ghost Stories. It's like a Twilight Zone type show, and that's it's the one that they're not connected. So it's like we need a quick episode to just take up time.
Yeah.
We'll put that in just to watch an episode. Rather than start a whole new show. If we don't know what, we'll pop that in just to watch something. Or if we know we're going to watch a movie, we'll pop that in to take up the rest of the time.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like this, back in June the 13th, which happened to be a Friday, I told my mother we are watching Friday the 13th.
Heck yeah, you have to.
Just the original, but if you know the lore, Jason's birthday is Friday the 13th.
So it's Wednesday.
In June.
But we don't know if Wednesday.
Jason's birthday is June 13th.
Ooh. So you watched it Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's like, we have to. But it's like, yeah, so that's what we do. We watch this stuff, and there's stuff over there that I've not seen in I don't know how long, if at all.
Sure.
I bought the Batman. I started to watch season 1 of the Adam West show. I enjoy it. It's campy, but I haven't had time by myself to just sit and watch it. When I do have time to myself, I'm usually gaming or watching YouTube.
Right.
So not enough hours in the day.
There really isn't. There almost needs to be an 8th day where you do nothing. It's just like a chill day. Do your own thing. Ignore everybody unless there's emergency.
3-day weekend would be nice. Day 1, recoup from the week. Day 2, get anything you need to do done. Day 3, relax and prepare for next week.
Day 2, I would say would be the day I would relax, get shit done the first day, and then yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean people day to day bounce, but yeah, great little movie. I am gonna probably pick that up myself.
It'll be out in Walmart soon.
When it comes to stuff like that, you've not steered me wrong.
I try not to. I try to show you it. That's why I like this. You show me movies, and there have been some I bought right away. Like what was it? Return of the Living Dead. I bought that as soon as you showed that.
I had to convince you to buy because I didn't know I could play 4K discs.
We came over and
Mallrats.
All he said was Stan Lee talking about Superhero Anatomy, and I bought that.
Yep.
It was on sale. Best Buy was doing its end of physical media run, and we went in there.
Speaking of that, Walmart has picked up that slack wonderfully.
$15, you can get the whole Avatar: The Last Airbender animated series.
Yeah, and it's just Avatar. It doesn't include Legend of Korra.
The movie, if you request it, they shoot you in the back. They'll take you out back. They will shoot you and say, "Don't you ever speak of that again." That was like, I had a customer come up to me at Walmart when I was working there. Said, "Hey, do you have the movie Fight Club?" I said, "We don't talk about that one."
Yeah.
And then I said, probably in the bargain bin if we had it or whatever. But he laughed at my quick response. I was just like, "We don't talk about that one."
Well, yeah, because anyone who knows Fight Club knows you don't talk about Fight Club. And
We just talked about it. Oh God, there's a knock. We better run, guys. We gotta go. The Fight Club police are here. I'll talk to you all later.
Bye, guys.
Take care.